So it is the Formula Ford Festival final. This is the big one, the one that the last 2 days has been leading towards. We've had heats, we've had semi-finals, we've had last chance races, but it leaves Jonathan Brown on pole position for the grand final. Looking quite nervous, but I'm going to dive in anyway and have a quick chat with him. Jonathan, I'll not keep you too long. A lot of things going through your head at the moment. This could be a big moment. 30 minutes time, you could be a festival winner.
Yeah, I'm not really thinking about that right now. I'm going to take it lap by lap, and look, if we keep driving like we've been driving all week, then we should be okay. But I'm going to give it everything.
You've got the pace to do it, but I think the problem is everybody knows you've got the pace to do it, and they don't want to give you a chance to stretch your legs. But you already know this.
Oh well, I'm just going to send it.
Good luck.
Thank you.
I'm going to go back this way and speak to this man here. Cliff Dempsey, a really familiar face to Formula Ford. Cliff, you've been doing this so many years, you've won so many festivals, but you still look really, really nervous, almost as nervous as your driver.
I'm actually not nervous at all, because to be quite honest, I think if he doesn't get punted, he's as good a chance as anybody. He has the pace, it proved it in the semi, but you always worry about what the other drivers do, so that's kind of where it is.
He's kind of come of age this weekend. You said it was just a matter of time before everything fell into place for Jonathan, and he's got really good timing.
Yeah, I mean, all year he's been quick, he's committed to the job, he's done everything that we've asked him. He's been a bit unfortunate that these results haven't happened earlier, but, you know, let's see what happens in this one.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And let's keep moving. You can feel the tension down here. I feel nervous. I'm not even racing. Niall Murray, we've spoken to Niall a lot. He's in the zone really quickly. Niall, you know what to do here, don't you? You've got a plan?
Yeah, well, the plans always go out the window and the lights go out, so yeah, look, the plan is to cross the line first. That's about it.
You are confident enough that Jonathan's pace might be circumstantial with oil and things?
Yeah, definitely. Like, as I said, I kind of matched Jordan in qualifying without a toe, and he was really, really quick on Wednesday, and the same in that semi this morning. I matched, if not slightly quicker, than Luke Cooper, and you know, he did a 50.3 in qualifying as well, so that's all I can go by. So yeah, look, I think it'll be a good race.
See if you can make it 3.
Yeah, that's the plan.
We'll keep moving. I'm just going to randomly... Chris Biddlehouse, this is my dark horse for this. Spoke to him earlier on. He said he felt like a caged animal raring to go. Just called you the dark horse for this one. You've got some serious pace. You've kind of been hiding just off the front row, but this could be the time for you.
Absolutely, yeah. Best finish so far in the final in 2016 was 3rd, so looking to improve on that. And yeah, 4th is a good place to start. I think pole's probably the worst place because it's quite uphill and you have to sort of park on a bit of an angle. So good place to start. Hopefully we can work together, Matt and me, Matt, and Matt and Niall. And yeah, push on and see what we can do.
Good luck.
Thank you, mate.
And we'll keep moving. Where are we going to go? We'll keep moving up. I want to speak to Joey Foster, actually. Ross Martin there, national champion. His face has been tripping him all day, as we said earlier on. Joey Foster here, previous winner. 17, I guess. 17 winner, Joey?
Yeah, well, I don't know quite how we're going to do it in this one, but we're starting a long way down.
It's been an up and down one. After the qualifying for the heats, it looked really, really good, and it just slowly crept off the boil since.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we had a really good car in the semi-final, but unfortunately just got caught up and damaged the front suspension, so we had to drop back a little bit. But I know we've got a strong car, so I'm hoping we can make progress.
Have you ever won from this far back?
Never, no. Always the first time though, right?
Good luck.
Cheers.
We're going to go back on ourselves because Ross Martin, like I said, he's been in a bad mood all weekend after his mistake in the heat. He doesn't seem to want to let it go. But Ross, still in there, still in with a chance, to be fair.
You reckon, Joe? Well, I'll be trying, definitely. I mean, we're not far away. The boys taking the car up, so we know it's going to be a bit scrappy, but I'm up for the challenge, and you know I'll be quick, so I'm going to try.
And you've forgotten about that mistake that you were kicking yourself for in the heats?
Yeah, that's all over. Fresh head today. You know, the car's got good pace in the dry, and I'm in a comfortable position right now, so I'll definitely be going for it. It's no championship race, so let's just go out and give it everything.
Good luck.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Got time for one more, Ant? Kieran Haggerty. And again, Scottish driver, Scottish champion, done the festival a couple of times. It's never worked for him. Another Scottish driver who's been in a bit of a bad mood today. Kieran, up and down, but at the end of the day, the final's about to start, and you're in a position where you could actually do something.
Yeah, so tricky couple of days, but at least I'm in the final and great to be in the top 10. You know, first time back here in 5 years.
You graduated to British GT, GT4, you had a couple of years out of racing, but now you're back again. This is a great place to be.
This is for me, this is the the best racing you're going to get out of anything I've driven F4 GTs. This is the class that I really enjoy driving in. It's a great car, great team to work with as well.
Good luck.
Thank you.
We'll keep going. I'm getting the keep going signal. Josh Green, one of the American scholarship winners. Josh, at this rate, I'm going to have a chance to talk to everybody. We've not spoken yet this weekend, but again, 12th. It's going to be a tall order to win this, but it's still a really strong showing for your first time racing in the UK.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot. I haven't been in cars for very long, and I haven't been racing in total for very long, so I'm pretty happy with where we are, but obviously the goal is always to win. I'm never satisfied, so I'm just going to push forward and see what we can do. I mean, Cliff's got a car that can win. I mean, you can see Jono up there, his pace in the semi-final was absolutely insane, so we know we have the car to win. We'll just see what happens. Anything's to play for in the Formula Ford Festival.
Do you think Cliff Dempsey will be leaving here today with a race winner?
I'll be honest, I really hope so, but I don't want to jinx anything.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And with that, I'm going to hand it back to Andy upstairs for the Formula Ford Festival Final 2019.
Thank you very much, Joe. This is it. This is what it's all been building towards, the grand finale of the aimshop.com Formula Ford Festival for 2019, sponsored by aimshop.com themselves. This race, you look back at the list of previous winners of this event, and it is just a roll call of and a who's who of motor racing royalty, really, from Ian Taylor, who won the very first Formula 4 Festival at Snetterton back in 1972. Derek Daly won the first Brands Hatch Formula Ford Festival in 1976, and then Julian Bailey, Johnny Herbert, Roland Ratzenberger, Eddie Irvine, Mark Goosens, Jan Magnussen, Russell Ingall, Mark Webber, Jensen Button, Anthony Davidson. The list goes on and on. Nick Tandy, Chrissy Palmer, Dennis Lynn, Scott Malvern, and of course last year's winner Josh Smith, who is in this final as well, and looking to try and put his name back to back on that list. No one has ever won, would you believe, the Formula Ford Festival back to back. It's been won more than one time by the same driver. In fact, we've got two double festival champions on the grid in this very race, but it has never been won by the same driver in 2 years in succession. Could Josh Smith be the man to make that happen? Well, it won't be easy, because he's going to have to do that from quite a long way further down the grid than he'd like, but Josh Smith is definitely going to be one to watch, but then so are a lot of other drivers in this race, and this will be a fascinating 20 laps of racing around the 1.2 mile Brands Hatch Indy circuit, which has played host to some epic racing already this weekend, not just in the Formula 4 categories, in fairness, but especially in the Formula 4 categories. Some of their races this weekend have been incredibly intense, and if you thought they were intense, then you ain't seen nothing yet. Green flag lap about to get underway then. Jonathan Brown, the winner of the heat, the second heat, the winner of the second semi-final as well. Niall Murray alongside him, also a double winner this weekend. He won heat 3 and the second semi-final, so they've both been unbeaten so far, but they can't both remain unbeaten for the entire duration of the event. Here's the grid then for the aimshop.com Formula Ford Festival Grand Final. Jonathan Brown on the pole position with double champion of the festival Niall Murray alongside him. Matt Cowley and Chris Middlehurst share the second row of the grid with Michael Eastwell and Luke Cooper on row 3 together. Then it's Ross Martin and Scott Huffaker, the American driver, row 4, whilst Joey Foster has to come from the 5th row with Kieran Haggerty as well, two very rapid drivers there towards the back of the top 10. Then it's Callum Crawley with Josh Green, the second Team USA Cliff Dempsey Racing scholarship driver. Then Alan Davidson, the winner of our historic final earlier on. Matt Rivette alongside him. Max Maserati is 15th, looking to, quote, send it in this race with Noel Robinson alongside on the 8th row. Tom MacArthur and Zach Vanier are on row 9 with Morgan Quinn and Adam Hickins at the back of the top 20. I mean, these are still big name drivers, and they're down at the back of the top 20. Ollie White, 21st. Pascal Monbaran alongside him on the 11th row. Then Michael McPherson and Tom Hawkins. Ivan McCulloch and Jamie Sharp are down on the 13th row of the grid, ahead of Ryan Campbell and Rory Smith, with Jonathan Bullridge and Jack Kemp 30th and last. And remember, those last 6 drivers were our 6 drivers that got through in the last chance race. So we'll keep an eye to see where they end up getting. A win might be an extremely long shot, but can they break maybe towards the top 10? Who knows? Well, let's see what happens then. We've got 20 laps of racing ahead of us. getting over towards 30 or so miles of racing standing in the way of these 30 drivers, one of whom is about to become the 2019 champion, the 48th driver, winner of the 48th festival, I should say, because we have had multiple wins for certain drivers over the years. But this year, you just get the feeling, don't you, that although Niall Murray's up there on the front row, I mean, no one else in the top 8 has won the festival before, apart from Niall Murray. The next winner is Joey Foster, all the way down on the 5th row of the grid. So you've got some very, very quick drivers up there who have never won the festival before, and now they're on the verge of possibly being able to do it. Matt Cowley, 3rd on the grid. He was a heat winner earlier on this weekend. In fact, all 3 of our heat winners are in the top 3 on the grid. Cowley, the only one that didn't convert the heat victory into a semi-final win, and that's because Jonathan Brown went and won the semi-final that those two were both in. Here we go then. Back of the grid is more or less lined up now, with Jonathan Brown, the Irish driver, on pole position, an all-Irish front row, in fact, and then an all-northwest of England, row 2, with Pat Cowley and Chris Middlehurst. The 5-second board is up then. Let's go racing at the aimshop.com Formula Ford Festival Grand Final for 2019. Who will win? We'll know in 20 laps time. The lights go on. They go out now, and a good start made. A really good start is made by Jonathan Brown from pole position. They're all fairly even away, in fact, in the top 2 or 3 rows, and Brown, I think, will have the lead into Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. Niall Murray slots through into 2nd position by the looks of it, and they appear into view with Niall Murray immediately going on the attack. Jonathan Brown moves to the inside line to cover. Matt Cowley is 3rd, Chris Middlehurst is 4th, and that looks like maybe Michael Eastwell that's in 5th, so I think they're still in grid order for the top 5 or 6 positions. Luke Cooper is there in 6th, I can see, but it's Brown who has got part 1 of the job done. He has held the lead off the line, but can he keep Niall Murray behind him for 19 and a half more laps? Well, it's already looking difficult because Niall Murray is weaving around in his wing mirrors, trying desperately to put the youngster under pressure. Neither of them are exactly old, I suppose, but Niall, with maybe a bit more experience at this level of competition, is trying to use all of that to his advantage. Matt Cowley going with them in 3rd place as well, though. Middlehurst 4th, but we already have a safety car being scrambled. I know not why. There must be a car that's off somewhere around the circuit, and unfortunately the final is already put on hold, with the safety car making an appearance at the end of lap number 1. Brown leading the way then, Murray 2nd, 3rd place for Cowley, 4th Middlehurst, 5th Eastwell, 6th for Cooper, 7th Martin, 8th Foster. So Joe Foster gained a position there. He was actually the first person to gain a place there from 9th to 8th, at the expense, that was, of Scott Huffaker. Oh, and that's Jonathan Woolridge. What a shame. Jonathan Woolridge has stopped on the start-finish line. I don't think he ever really got going from his 29th grid slot. And Jonathan Woolridge then out of the race really before it starts, the Team Canada scholarship driver. And, well, he's had a trying time. He's really had to fight hard for this. He was in the last chance heat race, and he was in the last chance final race. And on both occasions was able to get through rather convincingly, but unfortunately it was all for nothing in the end. It is, though, still a Cliff Dempsey run car that leads the way. Jonathan Brown ahead. Other gainers on that lap, by the way. Callum Crawley into the top 10 at the expense of Kieran Haggerty. They're 10th and 11th respectively. Matt Rivette also picked up a few spots. He's into 12th position. Tom MacArthur as well. He gained 3. He's into 14th spot. So the further down the order you go, the more gains you see people making. I think, Ivan McCulloch is into the top 20 from 25th, the winner of our last chance final race an hour or so ago. So Ivan McCulloch is already starting to pick his way forward, but the safety car was not good news. Oh, Alan Davidson is out, though. Alan Davidson's pulled off coming out of Graham Hill Bend, the winner of the historic final earlier on. And, well, those extra miles he put on the car in the historic race maybe mean that he's not going to get to the end of the overall grand final. Because the car has broken down, unfortunately, very early on. So we're already down to 28 runners. But no such issues for our front runners then. The top 8 still in, top 7 I should say, still in grid order. Brown, Murray, Cowley, Middlehurst, Eastwell, Cooper and Martin, with Joey Foster, the man that made a move on the opening lap, but I think it was quite a cagey start. They all got good starts in front of the field. No one was particularly sluggish away in terms of the front runners, but no one was able to equally steal a march on anybody else. So we'll have to wait for the race to get going again now to see who's got the genuine pace. It's always hard to tell though, because Jonathan Brown here, he's in this tricky position. He's in the lead, which obviously is a great place to be, but he is now punching this hole in the air for everybody else to draft in behind, and it can make it look like they're significantly quicker than him because they'll be all over him. We saw it from Niall Murray just in that lap of racing we got before the safety car came out. Niall was weaving around in his mirrors. It looked as though he was almost falling over Jonathan Brown. That's just the effect of the slipstream, and Jonathan is going to be in this precarious position now for possibly the rest of the race, as long as he can defend the lead for at least. And he's going to really have his work cut out to keep Niall Murray behind, but well, no one's really doubting his potential to be able to fulfil that task, because he's driven an exemplary fashion all weekend, has Jonathan, a man that was 5th in the National Championship this year and is comprehensively beating the national champion for 2019, Ross Martin, who, as Joe said, had that moment in the heat that lost him a bit of ground that maybe he had forgotten about until Joe reminded him of it just before he goes out for the grand final, which I'm sure Ross really appreciated. But Ross is a level-headed young guy, and he, I'm sure, has his head in the game now. He is running in 7th place at the moment with the uber-experienced and very rapid Joey Foster behind him. Lights are out on the safety car. We're going to go racing this time then. So this will be at the completion of lap number 4. We will still have then 16 laps of racing to go in the grand final. Jonathan Brown now becomes the control car. He decides when to accelerate, when to get the race back underway. But remember, there is no overtaking allowed until you cross the start-finish line. He's gone already and caught Niall Murray out a bit there, and they are words you don't hear all that often. Jonathan Brown with a not enormous but slightly more comfortable lead than he had before the safety car came out, comes out of the final corner and gets this grand final back underway then. Across the start finish line they go, and up towards Paddock Hill Bend once again. Brown leads the way then, 2nd place for Murray, 3rd Cowley, 4th Middlehurst, 5th for Eastwell, and behind Ross Martin was trying to make a move there, I think, into Paddock as well. Has anyone been able to go on the attack already? Rory Smith, they're going around the outside. Luke Cooper under pressure here from Ross Martin. I thought that Ross was sizing Luke up for a move, and Luke Cooper running in 6th position at the moment, but as he's defending, he's letting the cars in front get away. Similarly though, Niall Murray is defending for Matt Cowley in 2nd position here, and that means he can't focus entirely on chasing after the race leader Jonathan Brown, who is starting to scoot away. He had half a second in hand at the start of the lap, and I'd say that's going up actually over this first full lap of racing. Niall Murray sends it into clearways completely sideways, but that was just a beautiful 4-wheel drift to the apex as he tries to carry the speed, but he's in danger of losing the toe here. Jonathan Brown is breaking away. The official margin of lead at the end of lap number 5 is 0.8 of a second, and Matt Cowley goes for the inside of Niall Murray for 2nd place. Couldn't make it stick into Paddock Hill Bend though. That might leave him vulnerable to attack from Chris Middlehurst on the exit, but Middlehurst equally I don't think is able to get on the inside, or is he? No, Cowley late enough on the brakes into Druid sees off that particular challenge. 50.606 was the benchmark time set by Jonathan Brown then on that first full flying lap, and Niall Murray does not look as though he's got the speed to go after him now that he's losing the slipstream, and instead he is the man now that's punching a hole in the air for Cowley, Middlehurst and Eastwell to chase in behind. Further back, by the way, Matt Rivette now into the top 10, but the man really making some moves is Tom McCarthy on the previous lap. 3 position gained into 11th spot, so he's also on the verge of breaking into that top 10. The leaders, though, come through to complete lap number 6 of the race, and the lead is over a second now. Brown to Murray, just over 1 second, 1.092. Murray needs to regroup here. What he really needs is Matt Cowley to work with him here so that they can chase after Jonathan Brown, and in a way it's worth Cowley doing that right now. If they start battling really hard for 2nd place, neither of them will win the race, I don't think, because they'll just let Brown escape out in front. But if they work together just for the next 3 or 4 laps, maybe they can see if they've got the pace to chase him down. In theory, a group of cars working together should be quicker than one out on its own. But getting that message across to all of the drivers in this group is not going to be easy. Chris Middlehurst is now moving up to attack Matt Cowley and has a look at the inside into the final corner and makes it stick as well. Chris Middlehurst going for 3rd place. He's done it. Brilliant move. And Chris Middlehurst, the man that Joe Tanner referred to as the dark horse in this event, is into 3rd and makes it stick as well. It looked like Cowley was going to come back at him on the exit of the corner. It did not happen though, and Middlehurst is into P2. This frees up Niall Murray slightly then. Can he go after Jonathan Brown? 1.3 seconds is the margin now. Brown was another 3/10 quicker than the chasing pack on the previous lap. And let's see whether, now that he's not got Matt Cowley sat on the gearbox of his car, whether he can actually lap a bit quicker than the race leader. Changes further back as well, by the way. Joey Foster is ahead of Ross Martin. That's 7th position that now belongs to Joey Foster. And another change further back as well, Callum Crawley into 13th place, but the most significant one there was Chris Middlehurst, who got into 3rd position and is now trying to go after Niall Murray, who in turn has got his sights loaded on Jonathan Brown out in front. But is that gap coming down? This is the first chance that Niall Murray has realistically had to close in on the race leader, and he has fractionally gone quicker than Brown there, albeit only by about 0.03 of a second, but that's the first time Murray's been quicker than Brown since the restart. A personal best for Niall as well, now that he's not having to defend from anybody. Luke Cooper, though, is having to defend. He's having to defend his 6th place because Joey Foster is all over him as they come into Druids Corner. Ahead of them, Matt Cowley was out wide. Michael Eastwell was up the inside of him and trying to move into 4th place, but Cowley had the inside line for Graham Hill Bend and looks as though he's going to be able to make that stick. Now, this lead gap is coming down, is it not? That's not 1.2 seconds anymore between Jonathan Brown and Niall Murray. I think Murray is now lapping a bit quicker than the race leader, and Jonathan Brown is going to start feeling some serious heat before much longer. The fight for 3rd is really intensifying as well, with Middlehurst sideways through clearways and Cowley looking for a better exit onto the pit straight, pulls to the inside line, and he is going to go back through into 3rd, I think, and Michael Eastwell might be able to follow him through as well. Cowley has 3rd place back across the line, and Eastwell commits to it as well. Lovely opportunistic driving from Michael Eastwell. He's into 4th position, and Middlehurst drops down an extra spot now. He's down to the back of the top 5, and that's a bit of a shame really, because he was driving well but made that little mistake at clearways, got a bit sideways, and that loss of momentum was enough to cost him 2 positions. Lead gap came down by half a second on 1 lap alone. Niall Murray has found his rhythm, he's found his speed. He's only 3/4 of a second now behind Jonathan Brown, who in fairness had quite a slow lap, so I wonder whether maybe Brown had a moment somewhere. That previous lap for Brown was 8/10 off his fastest lap that he set earlier on. We'll monitor the gap at the moment, but also keep an eye on the battling that's going on for the final step of the podium at the moment, with more and more cars joining the fray now. Cooper, Foster and Ross Martin are also very much a part of this scrap as they come through clearways and Clark Curve again. Half race distance then, 10 laps down, 10 laps still to go, 7/10 of a second, the margin that Jonathan Brown has out in front, and that looked like Joey Foster having another peek to the inside of Luke Cooper through Paddock Hill Bend. Not sure he was going to get there though, no he didn't. Cooper is still in 6th position then. Hard on the brakes, the heart rate rising in the commentary box, let alone in the cockpits of the racing cars as they get into the business end now of the final. This is what it's all been building to, and Eastwell makes a mistake at Graham Hill Bend. Middlehurst needs no second invitation, dives to the inside, they're almost rubbing wheels down the back straight, and here comes Luke Cooper as well, and he might go right round the outside of Chris Middlehurst here. He does. Luke Cooper with a sensational move, moves his way into 5th position, and Middlehurst, rather than gaining a spot, loses 2, because now at the inside goes Foster as well, and I think Ross Martin will complete the hat-trick as well and make it 3 places lost this lap for Middlehurst as they come out to finish another lap. He is alongside, he's got the tow, and I think Ross Martin with the inside line into Paddock Hill Bend should be able to complete the manoeuvre, and he does. So Chris Middlehurst, sadly the race unravelling now, he's dropped down to 8th position after that failed overtaking attempt that he made at the start of the lap. Cooper now defends his newly acquired 5th place from round the outside Joey Foster, who again tries that high, wide and handsome line through Druids, but does not work on that occasion. Lead gap came down fractionally, but by only 3/1000ths of a second. Cooper was slow out of Graham Hill. Foster's back up the inside. There go the leaders. They're getting ever so slightly closer together, but for 5th position it's side by side. Joey Foster up the inside of Luke Cooper, who hangs on again round the outside of Surtees. He's found some grip out there, but Foster's now up the inside. Is he into Clearways corner? Has to back out of it. The rear of the car steps out sideways as he just dabs on the brakes once more. This is allowing Cowley and Eastwell to pull away, but they're not as quick as the leaders right now. The leaders are in the mid-50s, and it was a low 51 for Cowley. Foster and Cooper again wheel to wheel as Foster, where else would you find him but on the outside line into Paddock Hill Bend. You can see the 2 cars in front getting away, and he knows that if there was to be a safety car he could still be in with a shot of winning the race, but he needs to clear a couple more of these cars as quickly as he can. It's been a good drive this though from Foster, make no mistake, from 9th on the grid to gain 3 positions in 12 laps in a field of this level of competitiveness is really mightily impressive indeed. Cooper though a bit wide again out of Graham Hill, and Joey Foster is really going to have to work hard for this through the left-hander at Surtees. Cooper sliding around there. Foster has Ross Martin, the 11 car right on his tail, and they are now starting to be caught as well by Scott Huffaker, aren't they? Scott Huffaker in the number 22 car is almost with them now. Oh, Foster to the inside. No, he's there, he's done it. Joey Foster, I don't think Luke Cooper realised that he was actually still clear of Foster. He left the door open to avoid contact and ends up losing a place. He does get back in front of Ross Martin though, and so Ross Martin is not able to follow Joey Foster through. That's another place gain now for Foster though, into the top 5. And he'll now chase down the other 2 at bare minimum. He wants to try and get a podium out of this race, if at all possible. There are the leaders. They're now 9.5 tenths apart, because actually on the last lap, Jonathan Brown was a couple of tenths quicker than Niall Murray. Niall is able to go fractionally quicker than Jonathan, but not on every lap. So the laps where he then loses time, he's sort of undoing all of the hard work and the hard progress made over the previous few circuits. Out of the final turn then comes Ross Martin, with Chris Middlehurst now trying to buy his way back into this. We're on to the 15th lap, nearly 3/4 of the way through the race, and the lead gaps are the biggest it's been at any point. 1.1 seconds between Brown and Murray. And Niall Murray, who was denied the victory in the final on the very last lap 12 months ago, it looks as though he's going to come up one short at the moment once again, but there is still a way to go in this. We could have another safety car, we could see, well, no traffic I don't think will come into play for the race leader, but Murray's going to keep the pressure up and hope that a mistake comes from Jonathan Brown. Cowley in 3rd, 4th Freestwell, 5th place for Foster, getting away now from Cooper in 6th. Martin is 7th, Middlehurst is 8th, Huffaker 9th, and Josh Green into the top 10 as well. So both of the American drivers into the top 10. Oh, Luke Cooper makes another mistake, runs a bit wide through Clearway's corner. Ross Martin's back up the inside again, and Chris Middlehurst will be itching to try and follow him past here. Keep an eye to Huffaker too, the 4th car in shot, as they cross the start-finish line. Martin on the inside should be able to go through, and he does, and Chris Middlehurst tries to follow him through. They almost bang wheels, but Cooper fends him off actually, and that slow run through paddock for Middlehurst brings Huffaker up the inside, and Scott is up another place now into 8th spot. Scott Huffaker started 8th as well though, so he lost some ground at the start. He's now back to where he started, but with only 5 laps to go, it's probably a case of too little too late. Leading 2 go through Surtees, through Clearways once again, Cowley and Eastwell 3rd and 4th, and then this sensational battle that's been raging all race long between Ross Martin, Luke Cooper, and now Scott Huffaker and Chris Middlehurst as well. Huffaker, the 22 car, how much further up the field can he get here? And can he maybe break into the top 5? Well, that's maybe asking a bit too much with now just 4 laps to go, but he could certainly still gain a couple more places here. He's in 8th at the moment. Up to Paddock Hill Bend they go again. Lead gap came back down again by a couple of tenths incidentally. It's down to a second once more now. So Niall Murray not giving up the chase just yet. He knows that these races very often go down to the very last lap, and if he can get within slipstreaming range of Jonathan Brown, the last few tenths of a second will disappear in an instant. That's the effect the slipstream has, but there's the gap. It's much the same again as they go through Surtees for the 17th time. Cowley getting away from Eastwell slightly now. They are being caught by Joey Foster, but I don't know if he's going to have time to get onto the podium. And there goes Chris Middlehurst up the inside of Scott Huffaker, who saw him coming at the last second and had to move out of the way to avoid contact. Chris Middlehurst was coming through then, whether Huffaker liked it or not. And indeed he did go through. Huffaker now tries to fight back though. He's almost bump drafting his way across the line. In fact, I think they were making contact for a split second there as they came through. So Middlehurst, as he makes that move stick, has now lost them both a bit of time to Ross Martin and Luke Cooper. And I think they'll probably find themselves back together again before the end. Around the outside again, attempts to go Scott Huffaker. Seen more overtaking around the outside, I think, today than on the inside line. That's just the way it's been, I suppose, in these races. Right, there's Jonathan Brown. He has got a couple of the historic cars or the classic cars to negotiate here in the closing stages, which I'm sure he's delighted about. Oh, that was handy. The first one he was going to have to lap pulls into the pit lane, so no traffic to deal with just yet. Then he has only got now another 2 laps to go, 1.4 miles. And maybe, just maybe, Jonathan Brown is going to complete the clean sweep. He won his heat, he won his semi-final, he's 1.3 seconds clear of the festival master Niall Murray with just 2 laps of the Brands Hatch circuit to go. Murray will not give up though. He's going to keep on putting in the quickest laps that he can. They're both lapping within a couple of tenths of their personal best pace from earlier on in the race, and neither of them can afford to let up even for a split second here. Jonathan Brown slides his way through Graham Hill Bend. Niall Murray just tantalisingly close. He can see the victory He just wants to get a sniff of that slipstream, and then he knows that he's got the potential to get there, but Jonathan Brown has masterfully controlled this race. That restart really is what won him the race. He broke the toe almost immediately, left Niall Murray to scrap with those behind, and now Jonathan Brown comes through to see the last lap board. 1 lap to go in the aimshop.com Formula Ford Festival for 2019, and Jonathan Brown is now 1.4 seconds ahead of Niall Murray, and it looks as though it will be an Irish 1-2 in fact for the final this year, but not Niall Murray on the top step this time around. He'll have to stick with just the 2 festival titles for the time being. Of course, this means he'll have to come back again next year now, despite him saying that he may not do. He's going to have to, surely, now to try and get that hat-trick of festival titles. This year, though, it's been all about Jonathan Brown, who has been in superb form. He was quick in testing in the wet and the dry. He dominated his heat in the wet conditions. He won his semi-final by a decent margin earlier on this afternoon as well. And Jonathan Brown comes out of the final corner. He is the 48th winner of the Formula Ford Festival at Brands Hatch. Jonathan Brown takes the checkered flag and in dominant fashion wins the aimshop.com Formula Ford Festival for 2019. Niall Murray in the end a somewhat distant second place, whilst Matt Cowley just about fends off Michael Eastwell for the final step on the podium after a race-long duel between the two of them. Less than 2/10 covered them at the flag, but it's Brown that's done it, and I think if anyone was going to beat him, Niall Murray will be reasonably happy that it was Jonathan, who is a really, really popular and well-respected figure in the Formula Ford paddock, and a genuinely nice guy as well. He's always happy to chat, always happy to help. The Cliff Dempsey squad you could say the same about actually as well, and Jonathan will be absolutely elated with that result. 2.6 seconds he wins the festival by, and that happens very, very rarely indeed. But a superlative drive from Jonathan, who tours his way back in to the paddock, punches the air with joy, and not necessarily the podium we would have predicted, I think, and I'm including Matt Cowley in this, who has been, again, one of the strongest drivers here this weekend, and let's face it, had he got away with the leading 2, probably would have had a chance to fight for the victory as well, but it wasn't meant to be, and he at least can salvage a podium finish from the event. And just like that, the sun sets on what has been a fabulous event here at Brands Hatch this weekend. What a phenomenal couple of days of racing. We've experienced, I think, almost all 4 seasons in 2 days, but that again is pretty typical of this unique event. And the atrociously wet conditions of yesterday gave way to bright blue skies today. And although it's a bit chilly out there now, it's been a pleasant day all round and some spectacular racing. It's always nice to see these cars at full flow on finals day, and the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit once again living up to its legendary status as a wonderful venue for the Formula Ford Festival. As I said, it wasn't always at Brands Hatch. It did actually begin its life at Snetterton in the very early days, but these days, well, Brands Hatch synonymous now really with Formula Ford racing, with the Formula Ford Festival, and for good reason, because year on year it produces some of the best racing you will see anywhere in the world, and that is the absolute truth of the matter. So Brown then a deserving winner, Niall Murray a gracious runner-up, I'm sure. He knew it wasn't going to be easy to win this year. I think he'll be quite glad, actually, that he's in second place. And actually, when I spoke to him on Thursday, he really didn't sound awfully confident about his prospects of winning the festival this year. And he has really been in superb form all weekend, has Murray, and comes up just short, but he will always be competitive in a Formula Ford, I think. Now, it doesn't matter how many years he does this for, it doesn't matter how how many more young up-and-coming stars sort of appear and start winning all of the titles, he will always be one of the stars of the championship and the stars of the formula. And Niall, second place this time around, but not a bad effort really for someone who hasn't actually done a full season of racing this year either. Matt Cowley likewise in third position will be extremely happy with the way that his weekends ended. Just to run you through the rest of the top 10, by the way, Michael Eastwell was 4th, Joey Foster 5th, Ross Martin 6th, Luke Cooper 7th, Chris Middlehurst 8th, Scott Huffaker 9th, and Josh Green 10th. So he did, as I said, get both of the American drivers into the top 10. Max Maserati came through from 15th to finish 11th. Not a bad drive there, with Kieran Haggerty in 12th position. And he would have been hoping for much more, I'm sure. But Kieran, a real star of, I'm going to say the future, but actually enjoying a pretty decent career in GT and sports car racing as it is. And it was Tom MacArthur, the reigning Northern champion, in 13th, then 14th position for number 55 Noel Robinson. 15th was Ollie White, 16th Ivan McCulloch from the last chance race. He got into the 16th spot there towards the end. Then Rory Smith with Jamie Sharp in 18th place, Morgan Quinn 19th, and Matt Rivette to round out the top 20. And Matt may have been, was he the first of the Super Classic cars? Yes, he was. He was the first of the Classic cars home, was Matt Rivette. Some good stuff from him. There are your podium finishers, though, as they make their way up to the podium. Jonathan Brown looking extremely happy with himself, as well he might. And he leaps down from the truck and rushes over to the Cliff Dempsey team to celebrate. And there's a crowd already forming down below the podium as the celebrations are about to begin here at the end of the 2019 aimshop.com Formula Ford Festival. Thanks as well to Aimshop for their outstanding support this weekend. And the winner of the grand final will receive a bullet camera courtesy of Aimshop. And they have been a wonderful sponsor, title sponsor of the event and of the grand final itself. Thank you to them and all of our sponsors as well that we've had with us this weekend: Avon Tyres, Head Tech, Race Parts, Wilkins Kennedy and Racing Line. Without you, events like this would not be what they are, and it's been a pleasure having you all on board. Pleasure for me as well to be here this weekend. On a personal note, my first ever time attending the Formula Ford Festival. More than lived up to expectations, and hopefully it won't be the last time that I get to cover this incredible event. We're almost now at the end of it. The podium presentation is only a few moments away. We've got a few prizes to be given, starting with the overall top 3, but then we've also got the Neil Shanahan Trophy, the John Nicol Trophy as well, and the British Formula 4 Scholarship Test Drive as well to be awarded. And we'll find out momentarily who it is that got that. That's quite a special prize. That's we've got Dario Franchitti, I believe, here this weekend, who I think is going to possibly make 1 or 2 of the awards himself as well. And we'll try and figure out who won the World Cup too, because no, not that World Cup, the Formula Ford World Cup that is also taking place this weekend. And the World Cup of Nations, essentially. There were 8 different nations or regions that were represented in the World Cup, and they, if the points have been calculated yet, we'll hopefully see a representative from the winning team handed their prize as well. So the podium is prepared, I think, and we're almost ready then to get the drivers up there in reverse order of our top 3. So it is going to be Matt Cowley who comes up in 3rd place. There he is, a very, very happy Matt Cowley, who steps up onto the 3rd step of the podium. 2nd place for Niall Murray. It's not quite a 3rd festival title yet, but still a strong weekend. He showed he's still as good as the best. But the best of the best this weekend was Jonathan Brown. Unstoppable is the word to describe him. Won his heat, won his semi-final, and he is the winner of the aimshop.com grand final here at Brands Hatch. Jonathan Brown, your 2019 winner.
First of all, we've got to have the presentation of
We've also got the Neil Shanahan Trophy, which is being presented by Dominic Ostrovsky, who I'm very sad to say is leaving the BRSCC after this event, but he's been asked on behalf of the Shanahans themselves to present the winner's trophy to Jonathan Brown, the trophy named after the late Neil Shanahan, who we lost all those years ago at Alton Park. And Jonathan Brown has won the event. He gets the Neil Shanahan Trophy handed to him by Dominic Ostrovsky, and I think hopefully very shortly we can head down there and have a chat with our podium finishers. The photos have to be taken first though. not the driver's favourite part of the weekend, but...
a genuine smile this weekend, not a nervous smile.
There they go then. Well, I think we can now head down then to Joe Tanner then, who is down there with all of our podium finishers.
The images. And we will step in now. Jonathan, can I ask you to step down off the top step just for a moment? Not that you're going to want to leave it. Just have a real quick chat with us. 2019 festival final winner. Well done. I never doubted you.
Wow. Yeah, that was cool. I started tearing up on the way in, so this means a lot. To do a clean sweep as well, pole every race we won. So yeah, this is cool.
Niall had some serious pace. You made a nice gap in the beginning. I thought, you're going to drive off into the distance. But at one point, he started to come back at you just a little bit.
Yeah, a bit of oil went down at Graham Hill, and I was the first one to hit it. Yeah, that wasn't very fun. But we managed it from there on, so yeah.
I shouldn't have to encourage you for this, but I'm sure there's some people you need to thank.
Yeah, too many people here. I'll be here all day. So to everyone watching, to everyone down there, those guys deserve it. We deserve this as a team. We've been unreal. So yeah, big hats off to them guys and everyone watching.
I do agree. Some serious pace. Well done all weekend. Won everything you took part of, pole position in the heat and everything. Well done.
Thank you.
Second place, Niall Murray. We've been here before with fake smiles on the podium. We saw it last year, another second place, but to be fair, you put me in my place when I said you didn't have the pace. You matched him, you started to come back at him, but he just had that tiny wee bit.
Yeah, it was definitely a fake smile last year, but no, it's a genuine one this year. I'm really happy with Jonathan. If it couldn't have been me to win it, I'm delighted to see him win it, bring the trophy back to Ireland again, which is fantastic. Look, I just didn't have the pace. I was maybe a tenth off him every lap, but it just, once after the safety car he broke the toe, and it was just that tenth of a second every lap. I came back at him a little bit, but it's still not close enough to get the toe. As Bernard will keep saying, the extra 10 kilos might have been hurting me as well, but I'll keep defending that.
Well done now.
Yeah, thanks very much.
And we'll move across to third place, man. Matt, if I can get you to step off the podium there, I'm not that tall. Well done. Before the start there, you had a little plan in your head that these two were going to tussle for the lead and it was going to hand it to you on a plate, and it just didn't come out, did it?
Yeah, not quite. I mean, Jonathan made a really good start and Niall as well, and I was kind of with them off of the start, and then the restart I was with them up the whole way, and then my teammate Chris Millers got past me and kind of backed me up for a couple of laps, and then once I got back around they were gone, then broken the toe, and I was just kind of sat there holding the same distance to them for the rest of the race really.
If it makes it any better, the most entertaining race was the race for the final spot on the podium.
Yeah, it got quite close at a few points. I was kind of had Michael Eastwell behind me, just keeping him at bay really, and yeah, it was quite close, but unfortunately it wasn't further up the field that I was fighting for.
Well done, and well done once again to our festival winner, Jonathan, and I will hand it back upstairs. Take it away.
Well, I think I've just about got some breath left to try and sum up what happened in the last couple of days, really. That's almost impossible, but that final 20 laps of racing was almost everything we hoped it would be, really. Jonathan Brown, a deserving winner, and we didn't see the last lap heroics that we did last year from Josh Smith, but it was a cracking race nonetheless. Jonathan Brown got the lead from pole position and pulled off into that lead that he would not give away. We had a safety car though at the end of the first lap, as Jonathan Woolridge, sadly the Team Canada scholarship driver, had stopped on the grid at the start. On the restart, Jonathan Brown nailed it, and he pulled out about 9/10 of a second immediately. He broke the slipstream. There was no way back then from Niall Murray. He simply couldn't keep up, and as he was saying there, he just didn't have the pace to go after the leader. The real battling was going on for third place. Chris Middlehurst was bringing himself into contention in the early stages, moving his way ahead before Matt Cowley and Michael Eastwell both managed to come through into third and fourth respectively. Luke Cooper and Joey Foster were entertaining us too. Foster in particular making some really brave overtakes around the outside. Ross Martin was also a part of the top 10 gaggle, and the positions were changing almost by the lap with some really close racing wheel to wheel, but minimal, if potentially no contact at all, actually. Really close and really clean racing for some of the best single-seater drivers in the land. Then it was Joey Foster making a move on the inside of Luke Cooper, and Luke Cooper started to slip back down the order, but every time someone lost positions, they seemed able to regain them. Ross Martin had been losing ground early on and then got back up the inside, and then Chris Middlehurst made a lovely move up the inside of Scott Huffaker. The win, though, went to Jonathan Brown. He is your 2019 Formula Ford Festival winner, and he won the race in the end by 2.6 seconds. Well, thank you everybody for joining us here at the Formula Ford Festival for 2019. I hope you've enjoyed it. I know I certainly have. Can't wait to do it all over again in 2020. The 2019 Formula Ford Festival is brought to you by aimshop.com.